My name is Kate and I'm a lead early childhood education and care trainer. So I teach and facilitate classes for Certificate 3 in early childhood education and care and Diploma of early childhood education and care at NIET. I wear a lot of hats as an early childhood trainer, so I do support students in class. I organize assessments such as simulations and demonstrations. I visit them on placement and do practical assessments. I might record webinars to clarify some information and guide them through the unit. I ensure that students are traveling well. It's my job to keep them on track. As a trainer, I support students on placement a lot. So I may help them to find placement. I usually encourage them to be quite proactive and find their own placement. But if they are not sure, if they're new to the sector and profession, I can help them. When they are starting their hours, I give them the journal and we go through placement tasks. So what's required, what kind of things they will be doing. I also introduce them to the first task, so if it's difficult, we go through it in class. Then we arrange the first visit, so during the first visit I assess them, I ask them questions, try not to be too strict as well, so make sure it's fun for them, and we catch up after the placement visit. If they experience difficulties on placement, I also help to solve these issues. I have been passionate and enthusiastic about early childhood education since I had my own child, and I delved into the science of learning and neuroscience and brain development, and eventually got a job in Australia in my first center. My role was to work in each room and play with children, supervise children, and also support educators in finding best resources. After completing my Certificate 3, I enrolled into Graduate Diploma of Education. And while I was studying, I was working in many centers, preschools, council-based, and I developed a good understanding of the key players, what are we doing, and what's the difference between preschool, that is standalone, and early childhood center. I also worked as FKA support educator. I love working at NIET because of the people that we have here. So we have a really good team of passionate, enthusiastic and positive people who love to come here and love to support students. I feel we are all on the same page. We have shared values, and this shines through every day I'm working here. It's really great environment for any trainer to be, so I'm very lucky. The advice that I can give to students who are thinking about starting working in early childhood education and care is to consider how serious you are about this job. How much do you know about this job? Have you ever worked in early childhood education and care? Have you ever done work placement, maybe school work placement or any kind of exposure? Have you ever been to early childhood center? Quite often, students don't really know what they are plunging into, and they underestimate the importance of this job. It is quite a difficult profession. You have a lot of responsibilities. You are exposed to a lot of stress, but the most important thing is that it is not an easy job. So it requires commitment and it requires studying, and that's why we have Certificate 3 as initial qualification for this job. So you need to think about it as different from the way you look after your nephews or nieces or look after your children. It's not the same as raising your own children, because it is a profession. It is done in an organized environment that is regulated. They need to really understand all the intricacies of the job and understand that it's an important but quite difficult job that is valuable for the society. When students decide what organization they should be doing the course with, they need to consider how it makes them feel. When you are calling this organization, you can feel whether you are welcome and feel supported. So that's the first initial interactions. But of course, you need to rely on the reputation of the registered training organization. You need to check the reviews from other students. You can ask if they were happy with their course. What did they like about it? Were they happy about their trainer? Did they feel that the materials were friendly? Did they get support required during the course? So I would definitely pay attention to these aspects of the training organization. Of course, environment is important, so when you come through the center, you also can pay attention to the learning resources, how the rooms are set up. Do they have simulation rooms? Because that's important to have practical exposure to resources. What should students do during their study to be successful? I think mindset is everything. My advice to all new students is to take responsibility for your learning. You are not a passive recipient of knowledge. You are the active learner who is responsible for the outcome. I take this responsibility and take my part as a trainer and assessor, and I share it with my students. They have their own responsibility to complete their work, to complete their assignments, to read the books, and we are here to help. But we are not here to do their work for them. So it is very, very student-centered environment, but responsibility is the key. The other thing to consider is your growth mindset. You will make mistakes. Sometimes when students get my resubmission, they have a lot of comments and they need to do it again. They feel a little bit deflated, but that's part of the learning process. So the growth mindset teaches you to look at mistakes as learning opportunities. And here you have more than one opportunity to resubmit. Even if you have done placement task and you didn't pass, you still have 3 attempts. A really great mindset to have is to consider it as a marathon rather than a sprint. So what have I done today that moved me a little bit towards my goal?